Elgin is dead. Sophia knows it. Clara knows it. And as far as the rest of Fromville is concerned, Elgin Williams has simply stopped showing up. Why does it matter that nobody disposed of his body on screen? Why is a secret the town doesn't even know it has more dangerous than every talisman Sophia stole? And what does it mean that the one person who could have warned everyone chose to pray instead of run? Let's break down why this is the most dangerous secret in the town's history, heading into the final season. Before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you considered subscribing. We cover every layer of from the moment it drops, and the final season is going to need someone tracking every piece. Okay, let's start with Elgin's full arc, because his death only lands the way it should once you understand everything the town put him through to get there. Elgin Williams arrived in Fromville as a bus passenger in Season 2. He came in alongside Marielle, the same day on the same vehicle, as part of the same group of new arrivals who had no idea what they'd driven into. And almost immediately, the town started doing something to him that it hadn't done to most residents. It gave him visions. Not hallucinations, not stress responses. Actual supernatural transmissions, starting from the moment the bus crossed into the town's boundaries. Those visions weren't benign. We learned later that the Kimono Woman had been manipulating them, feeding Elgin specific images designed to push him toward actions that would ensure Smiley's resurrection. He was being used as an instrument before he even understood he was trapped. By the Season 3 finale, he'd paid a devastating price for existing inside a town that needed someone to exploit. Sarah gouged out his eye, not as punishment, as a tool. She needed information about Fatima's location, and Elgin's body was the lever she used to get it. He survived, but Season 4 made clear he was carrying that moment in every scene he was in. The show spent the early part of Season 4 asking what version of Elgin emerged from that trauma. The answer was the version the town had been trying to break for 2 seasons and never quite managed to. A young man who still had his hope intact, who was still trying to make sense of what was happening to him, who still believed that understanding the truth was worth the risk. That belief is what put him in the room with Sophia. He'd found an old photograph proving Sophia had inhabited this face before, in a previous cycle of the town. He thought that was information worth confronting her with directly. She confirmed it. She offered him a deal. Help her, become her mole inside the community, and she'd help him go home. Elgin said no. He started praying, and Sophia killed him. The attack left him bleeding from his eyes and his mouth, and then the episode moved on. And that is the most important detail in the entire finale. The show never depicted Clara disposing of Elgin's body. Screen Rant confirmed this directly in their post-finale analysis. We see Elgin die. We do not see what happens next. We do not see Clara handle the aftermath. We do not see any resident find anything. Elgin is simply gone. And in a town where the dead don't always stay dead, where bodies have consequences, where the physical evidence of what happens in Fromville has been central to the show's mythology since Season 1, the absence of that scene is not an accident, it's a setup. Here's why this specific secret is structurally more dangerous than everything else Sophia did in the finale. The talisman theft was enormous. The ladder sabotage was devastating. Elgin's murder getting buried quietly may end up being worse than both, because the talismans being gone is eventually going to be noticed. Fatima's transformation is already visible. The earthquake and the darkened sky happened in front of witnesses. Everything else Sophia did in the finale left evidence. Elgin's death leaves nothing. Nobody knows to look for him. Nobody witnessed it. Nobody can trace it. And the only person other than Sophia who knows what happened is Clara, who is Sophia's mole, who is still walking around Colony House, who is being treated as a trusted community member by the same people she helped strip of their only protection. Nathan D. Simmons described it himself in a post-finale interview, giving his advice to the remaining residents. Trust nobody. He said it with a laugh, but he meant it, because the situation Elgin died in is exactly the kind of situation the town has always used to destroy people from the inside. You don't need to understand how you've been compromised. The manipulation works better when the target doesn't know they're a target. Jeff Pinkner confirmed in his Collider interview that Elgin's death was directly tied to the season's central theme, Knowledge comes at a cost. The moment Elgin found out the truth about Sophia, Pinkner said, she began tying up loose ends. But here's what makes that framing so disturbing when you apply it to Season 5. That theme cuts both ways. If knowledge comes at a cost, then the residents who don't know Elgin is dead are being protected from that cost. They have no idea how close they are to understanding something that would make them a target. Boyd is going to notice eventually that Elgin hasn't shown up. Christy is going to wonder. Someone is going to look for him. And the moment they start asking questions, they've already taken the first step toward paying the same price he did. Here's the rehook, because there's a possibility I've been sitting with since the finale aired that I think changes how you read this entire setup for Season 5. The show never disposed of Elgin's body on screen. Father Khatri died in Season 1 and appeared later in the show in a form that confirmed the dead don't simply disappear from Fromville. Simmons himself mentioned in his Screen Rant interview that Khatri's return is one of the routes he could imagine for Elgin to come back. He also mentioned the show still has a life-size dummy built from his Season 3 scenes. That's not a guarantee, but it's a specific, deliberate thing for an actor to say in a post-death interview. And in a town where Roger was reanimated in a barn, where the dead don't get to leave, where Sophia can only wear the faces of people who've died there, a body that was never shown being handled is a body that hasn't been committed to any one outcome yet. Which means Elgin might not be gone. He might be the next face Sophia needs. Or he might be the thing in the dark that the final season hasn't shown us yet. Jeff Pinkner also confirmed that the origin story of the woman in Elgin's photograph, the person whose face Sophia is currently wearing, is still on the table for Season 5. If that origin gets explored, Elgin's discovery of that photograph, and the fact that it killed him, becomes one of the most consequential acts of the entire series. He died for a piece of knowledge that the final season may use to explain everything. So here's where Season 5 picks up with this specific thread. A man is missing. Nobody knows he's dead. His killer is walking around the town eating breakfast with the people who trusted him. The body was never moved on screen. And the show that spent 4 seasons telling us that knowledge comes at a cost has quietly set up the most dangerous version of that rule. Not the kind where someone finds out too much. The kind where the entire community doesn't know enough. And someone is in their middle making sure it stays that way. Season 5, From's confirmed final season, is set to begin production in Halifax, Nova Scotia later this year, with 13 episodes and a 2027 premiere window. So, tell me what you think. Does Elgin's body show up in a form nobody expected in the final season? And how long before someone in Fromville notices he's gone? Drop your theory in the comments. I want to hear what you think is coming. And if you want every update the moment Season 5 news drops, go ahead and subscribe. I'd really appreciate having you here for the final chapter. See you when the next piece lands.